Alright, this is a Honda mower. I bought this a couple of years ago at the Home Depot. It was the cheapest level. It was like right around $430. I'm just going to show you the maintenance I do on it. This is going to be similar to not only all Honda mowers, but even just every push lawnmower that you would service. So there's really only four main things that you have to service on a push mower. They're very simple. So you've got to either sharpen your blades or change your blades. And you have an air filter that needs to be changed, a spark plug that needs to be changed, and oil that needs to be changed. So we're going to do those four maintenance items. I do this every winter and just to get it ready for the season. And then the only thing I do during the season is right around the 4th of July, where I consider to be the middle of the mowing season for me, is I sharpen the blade again. The only climate I've ever lived in where blades don't hold up very well is in Florida with the sandy soil, where the sand actually eats away the metal blade, and instead of sharpening them, you need to change them out completely. But I'll put links in the descriptions to items that I use in this video. So if you're looking for a spark plug number, an air filter number, different things of that nature, don't worry about trying to catch it while you watch the video. I'll put all that in the description. So it doesn't really matter what order we do these things in. I'm going to start with the blade change. So let's get started. Okay, so when I change the blade, the first thing I want to do is have my fuel off. So your fuel is on when it's straight with the inline, and it's off when you do that. So there's no fuel going through. That's how I store it anyway, so it's already off. This is your air filter. And what I like to do when I tip a lawnmower over is always have the air filter up, and this is always the way that I choose to tip it over. So this will expose our blade, two blades, because one's a mulching blade. They're both held in by the same two bolts right here. You don't worry about that center bolt. It's held in by these two, and these are a 14 millimeter. You can do this with an impact gun if you want, but I would recommend using some gloves and not only protect your hands from the blades themselves, but also just if they hit anything, since you're using some pressure. This is a 3/8 inch extendable to give me some more torque on this. You can use a breaker bar. This kind of acts like a breaker bar. I also have a 3/8 extension on here, so that I get some space away from hitting the side of the mower deck. So it gets my hands outside of the mower deck. All right, so I use a piece of wood right there. I kind of get the blade up against it. Break that free. If you use an impact gun, you probably don't need a block of wood. But with the extendable ratchet or a breaker bar, you should have enough torque. So we just take these bolts out. Let them sit there. One thing I would recommend, I've already done it and I save it. I'd recommend taking a picture of your blades before you take them off. You'll think you remember everything, but it's good just to remember how they were on there. So this is the part that goes up against there. They go on like that, so not a bad idea. So now what we're gonna do is take these blades, and if you have say a vise on a bench, workbench vise, that's best. I don't have that. I have this cheap little plastic sawhorse, and what I will do, I'm not going to grind in my garage next to my vehicle, but it's raining, So I'm going to set it up in here and then I'll move it out into the ring. And then I'll take this clamp piece here and I will clamp one blade at a time to my workbench or to this sawhorse. So I'm going to want to sharpen this area right here and this area right here. So I'll just put it like this. I'll just use my block of wood that I used to step on and then give me something underneath it here to clamp onto. So that's what I do. A block of wood spans the bottom and holds that on there for me. Then I'm going to get my extension cord and my grinder. Alright, so we're going to start right here. So you can tell the difference. So anyway, that's that blade. And we're going to do the same thing to this blade. This is one edge, that's the other edge. There's that edge. There's that edge. So we'll put these blades back on. Out of the 4 maintenance items that it really takes to upkeep a mower, this is the one that you may not be comfortable with. You may not have a grinder, may not want to buy one. You can always use this video to know how to take your blades off, to take your blades somewhere else, take it to a lawnmower shop, pay them a few dollars to grind them, or you can just buy new blades. That's always an option if you want to skip this part. Everything else is very easy to do yourself, and this is too if you have the equipment. I think what I'm going to do, these blades are just really rusty and stuff. I'm going to go ahead while I got them off, I'm going to spray them. Just trying to help them out a little bit. I don't know if this will help them at all, if it matters. Okay, what I'm doing now, I'm not saying you need to do. I'm just going to do it because I really haven't noticed that much rust on them before. So I'm going to use a brake parts cleaner first, just to kind of spray on there. I think I might do the undercoating of that as well while I'm at it. So I'm just going to take some brake parts cleaner, just kind of spray. Okay, I'm just going to flip that over to the other side. Alright. Grab a rag. Just kind of wipe that off. Be careful. Just sharpen the blade. You want to cut yourself. Never really noticed that much rust on them. I think it probably matters. These are still the original blades. They've been through 2 seasons for me. And getting ready for the 3rd. Okay, got quite a bit of gunk off. Okay, so we're going to put some of this fluid film on, protects metals, kind of coat it. Again, I'm not saying you need to do this. I just noticed more rust than ever, so trying to provide it a little protection. Okay, and that you don't have to wipe off. So what we're going to do is we're just going to wipe it a little bit in the middle where we got to work with the bolts, so that it's not right there anymore. There will still be a coating on there, but you just don't want it to be thick while I'm tightening these bolts. you're ever using a power tool or anything, just make sure you always start your bolts by hand so that you don't cross thread. You can feel it if you're doing it by hand. You may not feel it if you're using an impact gun or a drill or something. So I start it by hand, get several threads in there. Okay, so next we're gonna use our socket again. Get most of the way. Okay, so now what I'm going to do next is get my torque wrench out. Alright, so this calls for 40 pound-feet of torque. So I always have trouble seeing these markings on here. If you're not a professional mechanic and you're just a do-it-yourselfer, you can get good tools at Harbor Freight, which are probably going to last you a lifetime if you're just doing occasional things like this. You don't need to put a whole bunch of money into fancy torque wrenches and things like that. These are very inexpensive. Oh yeah. Alright, so this is 40 pound-feet that I want to do that with. I'm going to have to get my wooden block, which I think I left over here. This is what I was saying. I use an extension to get myself away from the body of the lawnmower, the deck, so it's not hitting the deck. Okay. Very quick, you stop. Okay, so they're both at 40. So the blade change is done. Just gonna go ahead and use this rag and just kind of lightly wipe this excess so it doesn't end up dripping on my floor. Okay. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take a moment and clean up the parts I used for this before we move on to the next thing and get my work area a little bit clean. Alright, we're going to change the spark plug out in our Honda Lawn Mower. I'll put all the links in the description and part numbers. So this is the Honda NGK spark plug. I'll put the Honda number and the NGK numbers in the description. You're going to need a 13/16 socket. So you might want to check your toolbox. If you don't have a 13/16, and this one's a deep walled for a spark plug, so I ordered this off of Amazon. It's a Tecton brand, so I've got that spark plug ready to go. Also, you want to do this when the engine is cool, so that's why I'm going to do it before I do my oil change, because when I change the oil I want to run the motor for a little bit to get the oil hot. So we're going to do this before our oil change. So I'm going to take this little rubber connector here Just pull that off of the spark plug. I'm going to get my socket on there. Comes loose very easily. Just unscrew it by hand. Make sure your washer comes off with it. That's the old spark plug. This is our new spark plug. Got a new washer right there. Nice and clean. I'm gonna start it by hand. Always want to be patient, line things up. Always do them by hand. Don't cross thread anything and ruin it. I'm gonna go ahead and just use the socket to grab that and turn it by hand until. Okay. So now I'm gonna get my torque wrench. I've already got it set to 14 pound-feet of torque. So I'm going to go ahead and put the socket on first before the torque wrench. Okay, so I know I got it on there right. I'm going to tighten it by hand until it just gives me a little bit of resistance. Okay, now I got it on there. It's already saying that it's tight enough. So 14 is not a lot. So it's just kind of snug in there. I'm gonna put the rubber boot back on. Okay, that's it for our spark plug. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and change the oil on a Honda Lawn Mower. Recommend doing this about every 50 hours of runtime. I just do it once a year. To be safe, I won't let it go longer than a year. So the oil goes in right here. So let me just say that this is something new I'm trying. So one of the easy things you can do, well, easy, it takes two people. But you can get like a oil pan, get one person on that side, one person on this side, pick up the lawnmower and tip it over and drain it, and then turn it back over, and you know it's drained. I'm going to try something different this year just to see how much I get out. This only holds 12 ounces. 12 ounces of oil is all. That's another reason to change it every year. That's not a lot of oil. And this takes 10W30. I went ahead and bought this AMSOIL small engine. Commercial grade. It's expensive, but 12 ounces at a time, and all I have to use that on is my lawnmower, my pressure washer, and my generator, and so it's going to last many years. So what I'm going to try to do is use this Mighty Vac. I'll put links in the description to all this stuff, but I'm going to use this fluid extractor and see if I get 12 ounces out. And I'm going to measure it by putting it in this pitcher that I have marked. And I have the 12 fluid ounces marked down there at 0.375 quarts. So I'm just curious to find out how much oil I can get out with this. It doesn't look like much, unfortunately. Don't really know what it looks like inside of there as to why it wouldn't be getting all of it, but I just thought it'd be worth a try. Yeah, definitely not getting anything close to the 12 ounces, so I don't know what it looks like down in there, but it's looking like one thing I might try. We're gonna put the video camera down. I'm gonna try have my wife lean the mower and see how much I can get out. But if that doesn't work, we'll just have to do it the old-fashioned way by picking it up and turning it upside down. So we're gonna try tipping the mower this way and seeing what we can get out.
Okay.
Okay, so this is definitely working. Just at about a 45-degree angle or whatever this is, it's full of oil. That's on just one time pulling it back. So we're gonna go ahead and dump that. See what we got. I'm just gonna, before I even look, I'm gonna go ahead and try it again because that was pretty much full. Okay, that's about it. It's got to be close to 12 ounces. All right. See what we got. That's it. So, just to kind of show you, we got every bit of it. So there's the 12-ounce mark. You can see right there. When I hold it level, we're all the way there. So it did work, and that's much easier than lifting that thing up because it's not the lightest thing in the world. Just gonna put it back down. I'm gonna take one moment to go dump this in my oil container where I put my used oil, and then we'll use that to measure our 12 ounces and we'll put it back in. So be right back. Okay, so we have our fresh oil in here up to the 12 ounces. Pour it right back in. You can always use a funnel, but this pitcher that I use for oil, because of all the nice measurements I have on it, this works for this. If I was doing this in a car, I would use a funnel. But this pitcher has a nice little pour spout that's small enough to fit right in here. That way I don't have to clean up a funnel when I'm done with this job. So save a little time with the fluid extractor that we used, and then save a little time by not needing a funnel. So that's an easy job. No need to not do that every year. If your yard takes around an hour to mow, then you'd be fine just doing that once a year. So that's the end of our oil change. Alright, we're going to change our air filter in this Honda mower. So this is the Honda filter. I'll put the part number in the description. So we're just going to take these two tabs right here. We're just going to push in right here and here. Just like that, pops right out. This is our old air filter. It's really not too bad. You can just hit these up against something and try to knock things off and use them, but this is, I would just recommend every year changing it with the new one. They're not very expensive. Again, I'll put a link in the description. Don't remember how much it was, but they're not expensive. Just kind of take a clean rag, wipe out the inside so you're not just getting your brand new filter dirty with what was in there already. Let me get some of that canned air. This is not required, but if you have an electronics duster, air in a can, it can be helpful for things like this. Again, you can do it without this, so you don't need to buy this if you don't have it. It just kind of gets some dust out of there. So it goes in this way with a flat side up against. Just kind of fit it right in there. It's nice and rubbery, so it kind of fits in there nice. You see these clips at the bottom. So this does matter which way this goes on. So these go on these little hinges like that. And then you bring them up this way and those will snap in the top. They both need to snap. That's all there is to it. So that concludes everything that you need to do to take care of these. Today we have sharpened our blade. Remember, you can always take that blade to someone else to sharpen it, or you can buy new blades, but we sharpen ours. And then we change the oil, we change the spark plug, and we change the air filter. So we're ready for a new season. And also always run non-ethanol fuel in any lawn equipment. So this, my pressure washer, my generator, when I use fuel, I use the non-ethanol and put some fuel stabilizer in it. If you do those things, they should last you a long time. Hope that's been helpful.